Hey guys, welcome to the 619 Padres podcast right here on YouTube, guys. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Help this channel get to 500 subs, guys. That is the goal. That's the goal right now with all my other with my other channel, the Hollywood Steve Wrestling Podcast. You guys are a fan of wrestling, make sure you guys check that one out. Check out the Hollywood Steve Wrestling Podcast, but check this one out as well, the 619 Padres Podcast. Make sure that you guys are liking the videos. Make sure you guys are subscribing. Make sure you guys are commenting. Make sure you guys are sharing all that good stuff. All right. We're going to starting off with some unfortunate news, but breaking news. Darvish is out for the 2026 season. He last Wednesday underwent elbow surgery to repair his UCL and elbow brace. Um, it wasn't Tommy John. He had Tommy John surgery. He had Tommy John surgery a while, like quite a few years ago. But he had elbow discomfort all last season. That's part of the reason. That's the reason why he was out for as long as he was out. Um, so Darvish is out for 2026. He's gonna when he comes back, he's gonna be 41. If we even have a baseball season in 2027, I'll get to that in a minute. Um, the managerial search continues for the San Diego Padres. They've narrowed it down to three: Ruben Niebla, Nick Hundley, and Albert Pujols. I'll give you guys my thoughts on each of those guys here in a minute. Um, First base is a spot we need to fill. Pitching is another area that we need to address greatly. With Darvish being gone, um, starting pitching specifically, because Suarez, not Robert Suarez, Dylan Cease and both Michael King opted have opted out of their contracts. They've opted to become free agents, so they are both exploring free agent waters. So that is another area that we are going to really have to address. There's less than a handful. I wouldn't say less than a handful. There's some pitchers that are free agents could that could fit, but all depending on what they cost. That's the big thing is cost. What is it gonna cost us? That's gonna be the big thing because we we could go over the luxury tax again, but we have to be careful. It's a whole thing. This whole luxury tax thing is another thing in and of itself. But let's um let's focus on the managerial search. So Ruben Niebla being the pitching coach for the San Diego Padres right now, I I am not opposed. I'm not opposed to him being the manager of the Padres, but I do think that losing him as pitching coach would be a huge loss. Because he wouldn't be able to hone in as much on the pitchers and working with the pitchers like he does now. He he'd have he'd have to have he'd have to invest himself in other areas of the team, handling other team business and things of that nature. Um, so I don't know where, I think that he should just stay as pitching coach. I mean, I think he would be great as manager. He knows the guys, he knows the team, knows all the ins and outs of the team, but he doesn't have the manager experience. I mean, neither of these three guys have managerial experience, so you know, there he falls in the same boat. Um, but I I think that he's just better at being a. I think he just needs to. I think he should just. I think I want him just to stay as a pitching coach because of what he's done with the guys that have come over, the Michael Kings, the Dylan Ceases, the Nick Pavettas, the guys that he has turned into really really good pitchers. Nick Pavetta has revitalized his career last year with with Ruben Niebla, you know, working with him, being under the tutelage of Ruben Niebla. He revitalized his career last year. So I I think that just I think that would be a much better spot for Ruben to be the pitching coach. Nick Hundley, former catcher for the Padres, I think that would be a good fit. Um, I don't know how he would. I don't know how Nick Hundley would work with Manny, with Tatis, with some of these other guys, some of these superstars. I don't see Nick Hundley. I don't see it being Nick Hundley. Um, a more likely candidate, I think, that would be a great fit, that would be able to come in like Ruben Niebla, command that instant respect. He has that instant credibility. Is Albert Pujols. He instantly commands that respect. Future Hall of Famer. You know, uh, I can't remember how many home runs, but however many base hits, he just instantly comes in, commands that instant respect as as a former player. He's I think he's in his 40s. I think I can't remember his age, but I think he's younger, and guys like Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., um, those guys like that. I think that he would be able to relate to those guys just as well as Ruben Niebla, if not better, because a lot of those guys, Manny Machado, especially Fernando Tatis Jr., he's played for him on the Dominican Republic team during winter ball. So he would instantly command that instant respect. I think that having having Albert Pujols as the manager, he would bring a new energy. He would bring out things in guys that I think that we need. That we that the players need. A new energy, a younger energy, and more. You know, I just think that Albert Pujols all around. I think that Albert Pujols would be a really good fit for the San Diego Padres. And I've even said that I think that he would bring Yadier Molina in as either as his hitting coach and to work with the catchers, and to work with Freddie Fermin, to work with Elias Diaz. I mean, just it would be such a great fit for it would be such a great fit. And I just think that adding having Albert Pujols as our manager, I think that he would just bring, like I said, he would bring a new energy, he'd bring a new vibe. It would just be it would just help revitalize the Padres. I think it would, and I would hope that it would get us over the hump, and it would get us into a World Series. Um, but they've made no decision on that yet. So, but those are the three that they're down to now. Now let's talk pitching, because with this news today of Yu Darvish being out for the 2026 season, that gives us three, two, possibly three starters: Nick Pivetta, Joe Musgrove, Randy Vasquez. Okay, three. That gives us three starters. We need at least two more. I heard today that Ranger Suarez, Shane Bieber, Framer Valdez, as far as at least starting pitchers, they've opted out. They're free agents now. I don't I don't know. I can't remember what each of them is commanding. Um, I think two of them are like 26 million, and I think Bieber's 16, or I think Ranger Suarez is 16 million. So I don't know where does that put us under the luxury tax? Where does under above the luxury tax? That whole mess of a thing. I don't know where that entire fiasco. That's a whole nother thing. Is the luxury tax? It's the most it's ridiculous. It's insane. Anyway, I don't know where that puts us if we can afford. I would think that we could afford. I would think that we could afford one of these guys. And if we're willing to pay above the luxury tax and go over again, I mean, because 2027 being up in the air, 2026 the collective bargaining agreement ends, and 2027 is looking up in the air. Are we gonna have a half season, or are we gonna have no season at all? It's looking like there may not be a 2027 baseball season, because because of the collective bargaining agreement ending, and owners and um the players association not being able to come to an agreement on a salary cap or a salary floor, um which which I think you need to have you need to either have a salary cap or you need to have a salary floor because you have a lot of these teams right now. You have a lot of these teams right now that don't have TV deals. The Padres being one of them. We don't have a TV deal. We don't have a TV rights deal. And not having a TV rights deal, that limits the amount of resources that we have, that that eliminates a lot of revenue. Um, where you have the Dodgers, the Yankees, the some of these other teams. I can't remember all the other teams, but these teams that have TV deals, that have television deals, that generates a ton more revenue for them, and that in turn boosts what they're able to spend, how much they're able to spend. And guys, they can spend more on players, and but that's a whole nother, like I said, that's a whole nother thing. But you have you have these teams that have these massive TV deals, and with the massive TV deal, you you have all these other sponsors that will come in and talk to you and wanna 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 sponsor your team because of the TV deal that you have. Now, that the perfect example is the Dodgers. You can go and you can buy as many players as you want because you have the highest payroll in all of Major League Baseball. But at the same time, it's as much as it absolutely annoys me what the Dodgers do, how they handle signing guys, what they do, the way they go about it. They do have a really good farm system. They have the top farm system in all of Major League Baseball. It's either the top farm system or one of the top farm systems in all of Major League Baseball. And I will give them that. I will give that to the Dodgers. I will give the Dodgers that. But when with said TV deal with Time Warner that you have, with with said TV deal and the amount of Japanese and Korean players that you're able to sign through this TV deal, and being able to defer contracts, which yes, other teams have done and could do, but teams like the Padres, they aren't afforded that luxury. And that's kind of where a lot of these other teams are going, hey, this is not fair to us, to our revenue, because we don't have the ability to sign a Shohei. We don't have the ability to sign a Yamamoto. We don't, you know, oh, and I just remembered, um, Shota Imanaga, Cubs pitcher, is another free agent that just went on the market. So he is another guy that the Padres could be looking at. He's another potential starter that we could be looking at, to help in the rotation. I like it. Imanaga Imanaga was really good in the wild card series against us. I He pitched really well. Um, so Imanaga is the other, um, is the other one. Is the other starting pitcher that's a free agent. So Imanaga in a Padres uniform, yeah, I would. I would love that. I would love it. Um, but so it's uncertain what 2027 is going to look like as far as a season goes. Now, we have to get through 2026 and see what's going to happen there, because like I said, that collective bargaining agreement ends in 2026. So they've got to come up with something before 2026. Now, like I said, with if you put a luxury, if you put a salary floor or a salary cap, it caps teams like the Dodgers from being able to spend, you know, enormous amounts of money, and it makes it fair all 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 through baseball. It makes it fair for all the other 29, 30 teams that are in baseball right now. It makes it fair to those other teams, to those smaller, quote unquote, small market teams afford that can't afford to pay the type of money that the Dodgers can pay to these guys. And basically, it's a lot of people, and I'm one of them, that has criticized the Dodgers for buying championships, because it seems like that's all they do. And I've been a huge critic of that. I've been a huge critic of the Dodgers buying championships. Now, I give the Dodgers credit. They are talent. They are a talented team, and all the credit. And now let's talk. Let's get off the CBA and the 2026-2027 season and Padres for a minute. Let's talk World Series. That World Series was an absolutely incredible World Series. That was a classic World Series. That's going to go down as probably as the best World Series in all of Major League Baseball. Tim Kirkjian of ESPN put in an article today on the ESPN website that said that World Series between the Blue Jays and the Dodgers is the best World Series in all of Major League Baseball. The Blue Jays took the Dodgers to their limit. They took them 7 games. They took them all the way to the very end, to the winner go home world game of the World Series. The the pitching was really good. The hitting was incredible by the Blue Jays. And as much as it pains me to say so, I have got to give Yoshinobu Yamamoto the credit. The guy was an absolute dog in the World Series. The guy pitches game 6, complete game 6, I believe it was, goes out, pitches game 7, tells Dave Roberts, he tells Dave Roberts, I'm good to go for game 7 if you need me. Now that I give him credit. And rightly so, he won the World Series MVP, rightly so. That really pains me to say that. This really is painful that I'm giving credit to the Dodgers. Being a diehard Padre fan, this is painful, but I have to give the credit to the Dodgers. I have to give credit where credit's due. I, I commend the Dodgers on a great season, on winning three or four out of six, 3 titles out of the last three or like 6 years or something, 4 years or something like that. Um, and they're talking dynasty, rightly so for the Dodgers. I get that. I agree with that. But I also have to give credit to the Blue Jays because the Blue Jays absolutely did not back down. They absolutely did not lay down. They absolutely did not roll over for the Dodgers to absolutely dog walk them in this World Series. The Dodgers punched, the Blue Jays counter punch, and it was a heavyweight fight to the bitter end. And I thought this World Series was an absolute classic. This World Series had everything. This World Series was absolutely incredible. But now we got now we focus on, like I said, now we focus on 2026. What do what do the Padres do? Like I said, with you Darvish going down, with Michael King being a free agent, with Dylan Cease being a free agent, and Robert Suarez gone. Now, there are things that the Padres could do, but I would highly advise against it. Just speaking as a Padre fan, don't don't upset the apple cart. Okay? I don't want to upset the apple cart because you have a good thing in that bullpen with Morahone and Mason Miller. I think you have to keep Mason Miller as your closer. Your Mason Miller has to become your closer. Morahone has to become, it continues to be the setup. He comes in the ninth inning. Okay, it comes in the eighth inning, sets up. You're gonna have you have Shane Reynolds in there. Um, I can't pitcher that went down during the season. I'm drawing a blank on the name. Um, you're gonna have him back. Bear with me, guys. I'll be back in a quick sec. Okay, so you're gonna have Jason Adam back. You have, I just looked. You have Omar Cruz. You have you have all these guys that can. You can have, and Johnny Brito. Johnny Brito comes back. You could throw Johnny Brito in as a starter. You could convert him to a starter. He's coming off of Tommy John surgery. Yuki Matsui. So that bullpen, I think that core bullpen needs to stay. Matsui becomes your sixth, you know, seventh inning guy. Adam becomes your eighth inning guy. Morhone or seventh or uh Matsui becomes your seventh inning guy, Adam becomes your eighth inning guy, or um you know Matsui comes in and either you got Matsui come in relief, but or Adam comes in, Adam comes in the seventh, Morhone comes in the eighth, Miller comes in the ninth, closes it out. Now you also have Jeremiah Estrada that you could throw in there. So I don't like I said I don't want to upset the apple cart because you have guys coming back that pieces you could fit in, right? You could fit in these pieces, like I said, Omar Cruz, you know, use Jeremiah Estrada the way that you continue to use him. You have Wandy Peralta who opted in. Um, so you could even have a starting rotation of Joe Musgrove, Nick Pivetta, Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito. You know, yeah, Nick Pivetta, Joe Musgrove, Johnny Burrito, Randy Vasquez. You know, um, do you convert Rob Macchio you know to a starter? Do you try Omar Cruz? There's there's options to work with, but the seventh, eighth, and ninth inning guys, I don't. I leave it alone. I don't even. If I'm the Padres, I don't even entertain. I don't even entertain trying to make Morhone a starter because he was such a dominant relief pitcher last year, coming in the seventh and eighth inning, especially after Jason Adam went down. I leave that alone. I don't touch that with a 10-foot pole, let alone with a 20, 30-foot pole. I don't even touch it. I leave it alone. Right? I don't even go near that idea. But then we have the issue, the not really issue, but then we have to address first base. What do we do with first base? Because we're as much as I want to, and I don't know if I'm in the minority on this. As much as I want to, I want to see us keep our eyes, but I know reality. There's no way we can keep him, right? I know that he's gonna go. I know that he's gonna go elsewhere. I know that he's gonna go be a free agent. I know he's gonna go. He's gonna go explore free agency, and he's gonna sign with somebody else. So that puts puts us in a bit of a spot at first base. That puts the Padres in a bit of a predicament at first base because you have Ryan O'Hearn, who I believe is a free agent or has one more year on his deal. And or is or I can't remember what his contract status is right now. But you have Pete Alonso, who is looking probably at who's looking at free agency. You know, you have Lo, uh, Lau, um, Jason Lau from um, Tampa Bay, that you could look at to be the first baseman. But Question is, how much does you want to have a power hitting first baseman? I mean, you you kind of need to have a power hitting first baseman, right? You kind of need that. We kind of need to have a power hitting first baseman. I mean, not just somebody who's going to hit for average. We got to have guys. We got to have a first baseman that can hit alongside Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, who I think is going to have a better season. Jackson Merrill, Fernando Tatis Jr., and those guys. All right, well, guys, that is my thoughts. That is it for this video, guys. I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a little more details on some of these contracts and things like that. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Help this channel get to 500 subs, guys. I will catch you guys in the next one. Let's go, Padres.